All right, welcome back everybody in Math 150. Let's take a look at another example of solving rational inequalities. This time we've got an expression that we have is an actual rational function. It's got a denominator and numerator. And again, first step is always making sure that's less than or equal to zero. We already have that in this example because we've got the zero on this side by itself. So we're going to start this problem by factoring. It's always going to start with factoring. So in this particular example, what we're going to do is we're going to factor that numerator. That numerator is going to factor very nicely. We're going to end up with x minus 3 on top times x plus 2. In the denominator, we have x minus 1. And we want to go and make a number line for this. So we're going to start out by asking where does it equal 0? And the way we find the zeros of any fraction is we set the numerator equal to 0. So in finding the zeros, we're going to get solutions of x equals 3 from the first factor and x equals negative 2 from the second. So again, these are our zeros. Okay. So as we go to make our trichotomy number line as we're working through this problem, we now know we have a 0 at negative 2 and we have a 0 at 3. Next up, we want to find our undefined values. So to find the undefined values, that's always going to be for a rational function where the denominator equals 0. We've got x minus 1 equals 0 from our denominator, which tells us we have a value of x equals 1. So that is going to go on our number line in between our two zeros, and we're going to have an undefined value there. So now what's left to do is to take some test values and find out whether or not these intervals are going to end up as positive or negative. So I'm going to choose a very large negative number from this region, and that factor right there, and I seem to have miscopied that. Let me fix that really quickly. That factor should actually be x minus 3. Okay, so again, we're choosing a large negative and plugging it in right here. Well, that negative minus more is going to be negative, so there's one negative. A large negative plus 2 is going to be a second negative, and a large negative minus more is going to be a third negative. So we're going to go triple negative on this one, and that results in a negative overall. Now in the next interval, we're going to choose a value in between. I'm going to choose 0, plugging that into our rational expression. 0 minus 3 is negative. 0 plus 2 is positive, but 0 minus 1 is negative. So that is a double negative, so we're going to have a positive there. Choosing a value like 2 over here, and again, we're going to have a negative from that first factor, and that's going to be our only negative because our other two factors are going to turn out positive. So that's one negative. And then choosing a value from this interval like 300 million, or anything greater than 3 for that matter, we're going to see that all three factors here are going to be positive. Our question asks us, where does our expression equal 0? Where is it less than 0? We are talking about anywhere we see a negative on this number line or a 0 on this number line. So again, we're in this region as well, and we've got a 0 there. We do not include the 1 because it's undefined. Therefore, it will give us a number that's less than or equal to 0. So in answering this question, where is our expression less than or equal to 0? We're going to start at negative infinity. We're going to continue until negative 2, parentheses on the infinity, or the negative infinity. Because negative 2 is a 0 and we have an equal to answer, we can include that negative 2. In the next interval, we're going to start again at the value 1. We're going to continue until 3. The 3 makes it 0. We want to be equal to 0, so we're going to do a bracket on this. But because the 1 is undefined, we can't include it. So an undefined cannot be included in these problems. So we have to have a parenthesis on that. Then the answer is the union of these two sets. So again, we're going to be looking at solving these rational inequalities. Factor, find your zeros, find your undefineds, make your number line, read the answer from the number line. That's the basic idea. We're going to look at a couple more examples. Have a great night, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.